We don't quite have our projection system yet, so we're going to be using our hymnals this morning. We're starting with hymn number 123, Spirit of Life, in your gray hymnal.
I was taking a moment just a second there to bask in the sunlight just for a second. I felt like a little furried friend. Welcome to the Westside Unitarian Universalist Congregation. I'm Chris Darnell, and it is my great joy to be gathering with you this day with our guest minister, Victoria Poling. Rainier Reunion and John Hanson and Larry Jones and Marion Key are providing the music. Victoria Hester is lighting our chalice, and Victoria Poling, this is going to be an interesting day, is going to be providing our story for all ages. Henry Sikora and Nate Mesnard are our tech experts bringing us together virtually. And for the gifts of all these folks, we are grateful. It is a blessing to be able to worship together and to be here with all of you today. Now, Liz already brought this up, but love bless this mess. We're going to have some scaffolding up for a bit because we're getting our new projection screen. And, you know, word on the street is you can actually see it when it's bright outside. Isn't that something? So you might see some things up here. Just excuse our dust. Enjoy this time of transition that we've been dealing with for the last 3 years. What's another couple weeks, right? If you are with us for the first time or the first time in a while, welcome. We are so glad that you are here to share in this time, to make some space in your life to attend to your heart and your spirit, to come together in community. Please visit our website or scan the QR code in the pews to fill out a Getting to Know You welcome form so that we could send you our weekly electronic newsletter, the Westside Week, with this information about upcoming worship services and other virtual activities. We hope that you'll join us after the service for conversation and community, catching up with everyone and seeing warm faces on this sunny day. And I'll get more to the warm faces later on during the service. We gather today from many locations, and we take this moment to particularly acknowledge that our congregation resides on the traditional territory of the Duwamish people. In this acknowledgement, we recognize the Duwamish heritage imbued in the mountains, valleys, waterways, and shorelines that surround us all. May we nurture our relationship with our coastal Salish neighbors, especially the Duwamish people, and our shared responsibilities to this place. Let us take a moment to offer humble respect of this place and its peoples, and renew our commitments to work of authentic reconciliation. Whoever you are, wherever you have come from, whatever the color of your skin, whoever and however you love, however your body moves and your brain works, however you identify, you are welcome in this faith community. Our Unitarian Universalist tradition has no test of faith, no creed or oath to swear. We have instead the promises we make to one another, commitments we make to healing a hurting world within and beyond our walls. Now let's take a moment to greet those around you in any way that feels safe, be it a smile, a wave, an elbow bump, or just a little nod. Remember to find someone new to welcome.
Hello. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, yous. Always so vibrant. Please keep that conversation going after the service. I bet people are just more than willing to catch up and find out what's new going on in y'all's life. We are delighted to have with us today Victoria Poling. She currently serves as the minister of Vashon Island Unitarian Fellowship. She works with seekers as a spiritual director on one-on-one private practice and advocates for environmental justice as a board member at Earth Ministry, Washington Interfaith Power and Light. Victoria lives in Kent, Washington, on traditional Muckleshoot territories in the Green River watershed with her partner David and 4 cats.
Thank you, Chris. Our opening words this morning are "The Heart of Our Faith" by Reverend Monica Jacobson Tennyson. What is it that calls you here, that calls you onward, that calls you inward, that leads you homeward? What is it that gives you the power to make that change, to ask the question, to take the journey? What is it that says you have done well, that asks you to learn more, that brings you to stillness, that holds you up in hard times? It is relationship, the beating heart of our faith. It begins when we share this hour, our truths, our air, our hearts. Come, let us worship together.
In each week's service, we invite a member of our congregation to light the chalice of our shared Unitarian Universalist faith. Today, our chalice lighter is Victoria Hester. We've asked our chalice lighters to respond to this question: what gives you hope? Victoria, what gives you hope?
Good morning. When I was asked to speak about what gave me hope, it was a question I hadn't pondered in a while. And as I began to look at it, I think prior to 2015, I didn't have much hope in life. It's because I wasn't able to live as my true, authentic self. So I didn't think about hope, and it was striving to live day to day. But then 2015 came, and I had more hope for myself and more hope for the world. And then the years 2016 through 2020 came, and that went away for a long time. seeing trans persecution, LGBTQ persecution, and during that administration, the rights of others being taken away. What gives me hope today is my family. They are very supportive because I have a lot of mental health issues that go on. Also, mental health advocacy. Also, that is what gives me hope as well. And seeing people that are my generation and all generations, really, and the ones that come after me, fighting for racial equality and the Black Lives Matter movement and anti-racist work. And the Unitarian Universalism faith also gives me a lot of hope. And hope comes in my day-to-day gratitude as well, and giving gratitude for each thing every day that I'm grateful for, whatever act that may be, whatever happens, whatever I have in my life has really instilled a lot of hope in me. And it gives me hope to go into welcoming and affirming spaces, to have a family of choice, and to have an LGBTQ community which I identify closely with. These are the things that give me hope. And as I think about hope, it's a different definition for everyone, and it looks different for everyone. But as I walk through life each day and I feel hopeless, I begin to look at my gratitude list and what I feel grateful for, and it instills hope in me again, especially when I see things happen such as the attack on reproductive justice and reproductive rights for everyone, and racist things and transphobic things and homophobic, and you go down the list. And I think what I'm grateful for, and then also when I pick up my torch and fight for advocacy, that also gives me hope as well, because I know that I'm part of the movement, whatever that may be, and whatever physical capacity or mental capacity I'm able to give. And these are the things that give me hope each and every day, and give me hope for the future as well when I see these things, and give me hope to keep going every day. And as I wake up every day, my job as well, and the advocacy work I do there also gives me hope, and seeing the rewards that come from it.
As Victoria lights our chalice, please join me in speaking the words of our congregation's affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, thus do we covenant with one another.
Our opening hymn is in the teal hymnal. It's number 1012, When I Am Frightened. 1012. Please stand as you're willing and able.
A little preview of what you're going to get later on.
Will you be strong for me? Sing to
What a lovely song. Did that feel good? Yeah. Thank you, Rainier Reunion and congregation, for serenading me. It is now our time for all ages. Today's RE includes the nursery, which is open for children 6 months to 4 years of age. There's going to be a multi-age RE class for 5 to 12-year-olds that will be held on the stage down in the social hall. Fourth through sixth grade OWL will be offered to those registered from 10:30 to 12 in the library, and there's no 7th through 9th grade OWL this week. It will be available next week from 10 to 12 in the fireside room. That means all you teens get to look at my beautiful face for the remainder of the service today. Now that we've got that boring stuff out of the way, I invite all young and young at heart to hear Victoria share today's story.
Yeah, come on down. It's so good to see you this morning. Thanks for coming to hear a story. This story is about a teacher named Sophia. Nearly everyone in town knew Sophia and loved her because not only was she a very good teacher, she was also very kind. One day when she got to work at school, there was a note on her desk. Dear Sophia, I'm going to be around tomorrow. I wonder if I might stop by your house for some tea. Your friend, God. P.S. I know you're a Unitarian Universalist, so you can call me the Spirit of Love, if you like. At first, teacher Sophia thought this must be a joke. And the more she thought about it, the more she felt it wasn't really very funny. Who would do this? But then she thought, well, what if it wasn't a joke? What if the Spirit of Love was really going to come to her house for tea tomorrow? Oh my goodness. Well, then she'd better get ready. On her way home from work, she stopped by the store and she got a welcome mat and she put it in front of her front door. And then she set herself to cleaning her house, tidying up, got some flowers from the garden. Oh yeah, you do that when someone comes over, clean up your house a little bit. And then she started baking. She baked bread, she made a casserole, she made cookies. And then she thought, what about the tea? What if the Spirit of Love likes hot tea? Or what if they like iced tea? And what if their favorite thing in the whole world is lemonade? Well, she made some of that too. She was so nervous that next day. She didn't know what to expect, when just then, there was a knock on the door, and her heart went pat, pat, pat. She took a deep breath, and she opened the door slowly, and on the other side was the mayor of the town. Hello, Sophia. I was walking by, and I smelled the delicious smell of baked bread. Sophia said, I'm so glad you're here. Come on in. I'm expecting a very important visitor who I think you might want to meet. Please make yourself at home. So they were chatting, having a nice discussion about the issues that were happening in their town when, that's right, there was another knock on the door. Sophia's heart went pat, pat, pat. She took a deep breath, opened the door, and it was some of the children from her class. And they said, hello, Teacher Sophia. We smelled cookies when we were walking by. Sophia said, I'm so glad you're here. Come in, come in. I'm expecting a very important visitor who you might like to meet. Help yourself to some cookies. Some of them are gluten-free. The children were giving the mayor some much-needed advice when there was, that's right, another knock on the door. Sophia took another deep breath, opened the door, and it was her entire covenant group from church. Sophia, we heard the tea kettle, and we thought you might be having a party. So all afternoon, people stopped by the house. They filled her house, lured by the yummy smells and the happy sounds. They made dinner together. They celebrated and ate as the sun set and the moon rose. Well, it was a great party. People played games and made music late into the night, and Sophia forgot all about her important guest. She waved goodbye to everyone at the end of the night and went to bed feeling very content. But in the morning, she woke up and felt very confused. What had happened? Where was that spirit of love? All during her walk to work, people smiled and waved at her and said what a good time they had had at the party the day before. When she arrived at school, there was another note on the desk. And can you imagine what it said? Dear Sophia, I had such a wonderful time yesterday. The bread was delicious, the cookies were divine, and tea mixed with lemonade is my very favorite. Thanks for being such a wonderful host. I hope we can do it again soon. Yours truly, the Spirit of Love. And now let us sing out our children as you go.
We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go. We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go.
In a moment, we will engage in our collective act of generosity, known as our offering, when we take time to actively support Westside UU in its many ministries with our gifts by text, check, or cash. Each month, we choose a community organization to share 1/3 of our undesignated offering gifts. That is, those donations not designated as your pledge contributions. For the month of January, our community giving recipient is Washington Poor People's Campaign. Because our Sunday worship schedule has switched to twice monthly, while we wait for the next steps in our ministry, professional ministry, there are fewer opportunities to extend our generosity to our community partners. Please consider your contribution in each service so that we can continue to support the work of these worthy organizations. Now, here's a little bit more about Washington Poor People's Campaign. Washington Poor People's Campaign is standing on the shoulders of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. They are taking his vision of the original Poor People's Campaign and running with it in our time. The campaign is uniting tens of thousands of people across the country to challenge the evils of systemic racism, poverty, the war economy, ecological devastation, and the nation's distorted morality. Here in Washington State, they have a powerful group of dedicated leaders, members, and supporters who are doing this work in our region. They are committed to shifting the narrative, building power, and impacting elections and policies all across our state. You can give by text by sending a message with the $sign and the amount you want to give to 616-404-4171. If you need to update your payment information, text update to that same number. For folks here in the sanctuary who prefer to share your gifts by cash or check, the greeters will move among us shortly. If you'd like your gift to be recorded as coming from you, please use one of the envelopes in the pews. And now please enjoy this gift of music by John Hanson on piano. Thank you to John and Larry for providing the music, and thank you to all of you for giving as you are able to support Westside and the Washington Poor People's Campaign. Your generosity of time, treasure, and presence are gifts that sustain us as a community. Each week, we come together as a congregation in as many ways as we can to connect and share that which matters most to us. At this time, we make collective space for holding our joys and our sorrows. And I know we all have space in our heart where we have joys and sorrows that we either share with ourselves, with each other, with the congregation, but know that you are supported within this community. We're there for each other. When you want to share or not share, we are going to be there for you. So let us now, in a moment of silence, followed by music, hold in the tender vessel of our loving care all the joys and sorrows, both known and unknown, of our beloved community. Let us also extend our compassion to lift up and honor the lives of our neighbors and our wider community. We now enter into a time of meditation, a time for us to center. And today, Victoria has graciously shared a poem called Pieces of Stars. So let's take a moment, take a deep breath, breathe out, and let's sit in this moment. This, then, is the covenant, a promise in which a mysterious spirit of life commits to giving you pieces of a world with which to warm yourself, gives you hair, makes furry animals and woolly plants, gives you cold, socked-in fog seasons of damp, gives you a need for warmth. In your heart, you have something to share now, a need, it's so cold, a promise, yes, I will reach out, an idea, I will get warm. Will you be disappointed and bitter, disparaging the cold? Or will you make a promise to live with the bitter need, sending your tender heart into the world, seeking layers of holding and care? using the imagination and sense you've been given to say, yes, I will notice. Yes, I will feel. Yes, I will think and wonder and touch this world. As you are touched by the cool breeze, the rain, feel the impulse to run your hands through the coats of furred friends, a dog, a cat, to rub your fingers together with the fur, making a thread. Will you wonder, who gives you this idea of thread to weave into squares? Gives you the ancestral idea of quilt? Generations. Who learned to make a whole out of fragments, messy, thrifty, neat. And you can't warm yourself alone. So open your hands and look up. Here is your heart, and here are the people. Open the doors, and here is your promise. Your need, your idea are already known in the people's hearts. The people who begin to make thread, already knowing to make thread. And weave fabric, already knowing to make fabric. And to stitch the pieces together, already knowing how to stitch. Quilting a blanket of layers upon layers, warm air caught between the baffles, threads catching and holding the frayed edges of sorrows, straight from the heart of loss and exile. Images stitched in many colors, straight from the heart of joy and belonging. Stepping back when the vision is filled out, to quietly marvel at the beauty of this constellation, a new creation of sewed stars, a galaxy in which to wrap each of your quivering bodies, vulnerable and earthy, exactly as you are, enlivened by the promise that you are a piece quilted into the vast, eternal whole.
To be humble, to be kind. It is the giving of the peace in your mind. To a stranger, to a friend. To give in such a way that has no end. We are love, we are one. We are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are warm. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. To be bold, to be brave. It is the thinking that the heart can still be saved. And the darkness can come quick. The dangers in the anger and the hanging on to it. We are love, we are one. We are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are warm. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. Tell me what it is that you see. World that's full of endless possibility. And heroes don't look like they used to. They look like you do.
Thank you. That was marvelous. We are how we treat each other. And that is the subject of our sermon today. I'm going to be talking about covenant, and I want to thank you for inviting me to be your guest speaker. I'm honored and grateful to be here this morning, and I love this scaffolding up on the chancel, actually, as a reminder that we're all a little bit under construction. In our story for all ages this morning, teacher Sophia struggles when she receives an invitation from that mysterious guest, the Spirit of Love. She's both a little scared and a little bit excited. Could this be real? In spite of her fear, or maybe because of it, she prepares very thoroughly for this visit. Sophia could be any Unitarian Universalist choosing to respond to an invitation from love. This willingness to be open to that kind of visit and these loving acts of preparation she makes are examples of some ways that a person might act within a Unitarian Universalist covenant. This practice of mutually loving relations comes from hundreds of years of encouraging one another to trust that there is a love of which we are a part, and that this love promises somehow to invite itself into our lives and into our relationships. A covenant is a mutually sacred promise, and we speak of it here every Sunday in the affirmation of this congregation. I'd like to talk about three aspects of this promise today. One is probably very familiar to you as a behavioral agreement. As you heard in our anthem, we are how we treat each other. A second piece is about covenanting with the reality that is beyond the human community, that includes our wider web of all life. And the third aspect is a promise that there will be invitations from the mystery of love. Covenants as behavioral agreements are deeply important in our religious context because it's not really automatic for each person or a group of people who have something in common to know how to behave when interacting with people who have very different life experiences and backgrounds. This is something that we learn and we choose. In our tradition, there are historic power differences and dynamics, we know this, that are both oppressive and liberatory. So we make promises about how we will work to behave towards each other. One of those is that we will organize ourselves into a community of communities using governance processes that are rooted in practices designed by the religious ancestors of our faith, such as those found in the Cambridge Platform of 1648. Now, as you heard in the poem earlier, I like this image of a covenanted community as a quilt. And you can easily imagine many different patches and colors. And you can see that our patterns are different and that there are boundaries between each of the swatches of fabric. Yet we agree to allow ourselves to be stitched up into a larger whole right next to each other for mutual aid and mutual benefit. A quilt is a whole where no patch is made invisible, and no patch can choose to be invisible. Each one will be seen. And as a member of a congregation, your choice to be part of the whole means that your commitment and willingness to be seen, to show up and be accountable to one another, is part of what makes you a Unitarian Universalist. That is the covenant. And that means that your freedom to speak and believe according to your own conscience is sometimes balanced with and sometimes in tension with your love for the people to whom you are accountable within the community. We often speak of the fact that Unitarian Universalism is not a faith of orthodoxy, which means right belief. It does not depend on what you believe to be a UU. What we are, however, is a faith of orthopraxy. This might be a new word. It means right practice or conduct. In this public space of church, we learn and we practice many processes, as those of you know who have served on any committee. There's a process for making choices together, for listening, speaking, sharing our experience, for living out our values and putting them into action. So learning how to be together and renewing our promise to keep on going and keep on practicing is part of what makes UU a chosen faith. When we orient towards each other, that is a faithful act. Reverend Alice Blair Wesley's research on historic covenants reveals that this understanding goes back to early written Congregationalist church documents in the 17th century. They were very interested in a theology of organization, how churches should organize themselves in a spirit of mutual love, and who in the churches should have authority and why. And they were very interested because they had made this radical choice to become self-governing. Now, our faith's covenantal way of organizing had a deep impact on the way in which democracy unfolded in the United States, which is why it may seem familiar yet hard to articulate. It's the water that U.S. citizens swim in. For example, two of our historic political documents, the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut of 1639 and the Massachusetts Body of Liberties in 1641, which were written and adopted by Congregationalist church founders, served as models for the U.S. Constitution. So the teaching of covenant of the church was carried over and applied to civil government. So our religious understanding of UU covenant is bound up in the wider community of which we are a part, which is the political covenant between the U.S. government representatives and citizens. So that's part of what the promise of our UU covenant is about. Another part, as Reverend Victoria Weinstein notes, another Victoria, for a covenant to be religious and rooted in our theological history and context, it needs to refer us to a reality beyond the human community, beyond the political community. And our seventh principle recognizes that, capital R, reality, as an interdependent web of all life, of which human community and earth systems and other beings are a part. And our universalist theological heritage calls us to practice loving this web, loving our neighbor, loving ourselves as a reflection of the larger love of which we are a part. Rather than the universalist understanding of God being an authoritative being that is distant out there somewhere, it is an immanent and close love that is present, and we're invited to open our hearts to that love. Of course, there are times when it's hard to open our hearts, and we say in those times that we're heartbroken. These are times when we're out in the cold, metaphorically, when we stand outside of covenant, looking in, feeling hurt, feeling excluded. That's where spiritual practice comes in to help us get warm. I want to talk a little bit about spiritual practice because this is the way that our Unitarian and our Universalist ancestors chose to grow in trust, to grow in confidence and thoughtful discernment as their path to a loving relationship with the God of their understanding. When we practice opening our heart in a relational covenant with a loving spirit of life who cares and helps us grow better at loving, we're able to get back into right relationship with ourselves. Remember the hymn earlier? When I'm frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm angry, will you embrace me? I'm sure you can think of a time when you were hurt and you were able to practice a way of being held and reassured. Maybe you went for a walk and remembered your covenant with all of the beings around you outside. Maybe you got creative working with your hands, or played games or watched a favorite movie. Maybe you called a friend. When enacted with intention and repetition, these kinds of actions become spiritual practice, a learning tool for pausing and stepping back, becoming open and getting curious enough to ask questions. And we need this grounding in something bigger than ourselves and a way to connect to the warmth and care within and without in order to do the harder work of covenant, to repair and reconcile, to set boundaries, ask for just consequences, and very importantly, to forgive. So what do you do when nothing seems to be working in a covenant, in the worst case scenario? When there seems to be no comfort and conflict is spiraling? This is where the third aspect of covenant comes in that may help with this. Theologically and historically, our Unitarian and our Universalist ancestors understood that the covenant was initiated by that larger love, who invites us to be in relationship with all life, to become a people of that love, a people who practice love. The promise that we make is to trust that when nothing is working, we can stop and we can wait and breathe and listen for an invitation from just beyond our current understanding, from something or someone unexpected. And our story for all ages again today, it wasn't teacher Sophia who set out to try on loving in a different way today. She received an invitation to which she responded. It's an attitude of trust that allowed her and that allows us to make that choice to open up to something unknown, that when love comes to call, we'll open our hearts and we'll make room. That said, can you imagine being open to some wild spirit of love coming to your house for tea and cookies? It seems like the stuff of fairy tales. How would you meet a guest like that? I know for me, I'm not in a place where I'd have the capacity to go bake all of those things and get a new welcome mat. My life feels like a patchwork quilt of many responsibilities. I'd probably make tea, and my partner David likes making scones, so maybe he'd do that. And I'd borrow some folding chairs from the neighbors who really like to have a good party. And then I would just say, okay, here I am, doing the best I can do, and I'll host you, and when you get here, I'll nudge a cat out of a chair for you. And that would be okay, because the capacity that any of us has to respond to something or someone unexpected is limited. There's so much going on in everyday life. Sometimes it's like we're just trying to hold those pieces together of the quilt. So the point here is that you don't have to have a lot of time to start practicing saying yes to these invitations from love that are just beyond the edge of your understanding. It just starts with an intention. In our story, Sophia's choice has delightful results. Her gift of baking attracts her neighbors and children and even her covenant group. Who can resist that delicious smell? And what's noteworthy is that her circle widened in this way, beyond the school, beyond her church, including the governing authority of her town, the mayor. These people came to connect up, and they celebrated and shared a meal together, and music, and her smaller circles became an interconnected web. Love made a way to connect all of these people, to widen the circle where there hadn't been a way before. So this then is a little bit about our UU practice of covenant, which rests on learning to love in concrete ways. While Sophia's ways of embracing and offering love were to teach and to bake and offer hospitality, there are so many ways to offer love, and I trust that all of you have at least one, if not many ways, that you have learned to love others. There's an invitation to love that I'd like to invite you to consider today. This week, our Article 2 Study Commission released the new draft of Article 2 of our UUA bylaws. This is a time when we're reimagining Unitarian Universalism. We're being asked to look at the values behind our covenant and to put love at the center of these values. And if you've seen the image, it looks a little bit like a flower petal with each of the values circling around love at the center. So I wonder if our future is to be like our Time for All Ages story today. Are we being asked to be ready for the spirit of love to come into our congregations in a new way? And will you and I arrange our lives in such a way that we can welcome that love, no matter who it is who comes to call? I think we can do this. May it be so, and blessed be. Please join me in our sending hymn, number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. You're welcome to rise in body or spirit.
Today was a service filled with hope, connection, and answering that knock at the door. We look forward to a season that reflects those same aspirations. Members, do make sure to look at your Westside Week, which you will have received on Friday, for different details from today or coming up in the near future. For today, virtual social hour on Zoom will be following the service. Make sure to check the Westside Blast for any meeting details. You could also join us for connection and conversation following the service today downstairs, either in the sanctuary or downstairs in the social hall. Masks are optional in the social hall, but we ask that you stay masked for the first 10 minutes to allow our vulnerable attendees to use the lift and exit via the social hall doors to the parking lot in a masked environment. Board members Laura Strand, Marco Depe, and Jim Schlow will be available to chat in the fireside room after the service today. So if you've got any of your pressing board questions, just go grill them, you know. Make sure to check out the Westside Week for any ongoing or upcoming events in the congregational life here at Westside UU. Join us for the service on February 12th as Lisa leads us in a shortened, abbreviated service titled, We Speak the Language of Love. It will be followed by the board's mid-year report. As we bring our time together this week to an end, deep thanks to everyone who participated in the service, most especially our guest minister, Victoria Poling, our chalice lighter, Victoria Hester, musicians, Rainier Reunion, John, Larry, Marion, and appreciation to Ellen Wanless for the beautiful floral arrangements each Sunday. As always, it is a pleasure and a blessing to be doing this sacred work together.
Please rise in body or spirit for our closing words. And if you're online and have a chalice or candle at home, please join as Victoria Hester releases our flame with these words by Sarah York. We receive fragments of holiness, glimpses of eternity, brief moments of insight. Let us gather them up for the precious gifts that they are, and, renewed by their grace, move boldly into the unknown. May you go into this week blessed and blessing the world. We hold you in our love as we go.
Make sure I'm doing the right chord. I think I am. We're going to sing Longtime Son to close out our service today, and I hope you'll join in as you feel comfortable. The words are in your order of service. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you all the way on. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you all the way on. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you all the way on. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you all the way on. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love